All right, so now I've got the information I need, and I've done a little rearrangement here to bring my totals together. But you know, what I'd probably like to look at is maybe sorting some of this information. We have a sort option up at the top, and if you would prefer, you can simply click on right-click, and you have sorting options from here. So in order to sort the columns, let me just demonstrate. I'm going to first sort all the information below by the service advisor. And I can even multi-tier some of these sorting. But let's just start simple. I'm going to sort everything on the screen by the service advisor column. And if you'll watch in the background, when I click on OK, now you're going to see all information is sorted by the service advisor. Let's take a look at a summary. So now what I want to do is probably go back in here and do a little bit of cleanup on some of these things. Okay, so now that I have my totals, the total sales, the total cost, I really don't need my individuals. This is your choice. You can leave your individual part, labor, sublet up, but I don't need it because really all I'm looking for is the information under the total column. My preference would be to clean it up. I'm going to go into column chooser. I'm going to say that I no longer need on this report the part, labor, sublet. Okay. I'm going to leave my sales total because that's what I put together for the sales total. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and I'm going to remove my individual cost columns. And now if you look at the report, now I'm not specifying part, labor, or sublet. This is a sales total and this is a cost total. I'm seeing my gross profit margin and I'm seeing my gross profit dollars. So that is an optional choice whether you would care to do that or not. Personally, I'm just looking at total sales, total cost, total GP, and total profit dollars. Now, I'd like to summarize this information. So most of your reports are automatically going to come with a summary, and the summaries will be on the bottom. Let me scroll back up a little bit so you guys can see. Most of the reports come with a summary on bottom. Now remember, I removed a bunch of columns from the report that I wanted to customize, and the only one that had a summary on it was the gross profit margin. But I'd like to have a total for my total profit dollars, my total cost, and my total sales. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to go to the summary screen. I'm going to select the column type, okay, and on the invoice number column, referencing this column, I'm going to say I want to bring forward a count. If I did a sum, let me show you, if I did a sum, it's going to add up all these invoice numbers, and I'm going to have a couple thousand back in there. But what I really want is the count, meaning how many invoices are in the column. I'm going to add that to my summary list. I'm going to also want to summarize, okay, the columns that I added. Sales total. Now my sales total, let me move this over a little bit. Now we're looking at dollar values. So I want a sum of all these individual dollar values. I will add that. I also want to get a total in for my cost. So I'm going to take a cost total. Again, it's dollars, so I'm going to use a sum. I'm going to add that. And the last one I want to bring forward is going to be my gross profit dollars total. And when I'm dealing with dollars, I want a sum. Again, you will find reference to help for all of these items in the help system. Now, personally, I don't like the summaries on bottom. That's just my choice, okay? What I want to do is I want to move it to the top. So in your display summary, you have several options to choose from. And what I'm going to do is switch this to grand summary on top with group by summary. And when I select OK, now you're going to see I've calculated all my totals. So in here, I have 27 invoices, and it even identifies that that is a count. Okay, I have 23,828 in total sales, 21,973 in total costs, representing a total gross profit of 7.79%. And I bet you guys are crying for me right now out there. And I made a total of $1,655. So now I can see the information that I'm looking for in the summary screen. There are a few more things we may want to talk about. And, this is something to consider. If you look at this, I've got a credit invoice in here. I don't want credit invoices. I'm looking truly at sales and associated costs. Credits obviously have an impact on that, but that's not the numbers I want. So I want to get that credit invoice out of here. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to use another one of my tools, which is called a filter. I want to filter the information that you're seeing below. So if I select on filter, I select the column. So let me just move this over so you guys can all see the column headers. Okay, and the column I want to filter is the type, which means is it an invoice or a credit invoice? The condition that I want to use is that it does not contain. So I want to narrow this down to say the type column should not contain anything that has, and I can see it right here, credit. So I want to get credits out of there. Building that filter and then adding it, selecting OK, now takes the credit invoices out. So I've now got true, accurate sales, costs, profit margin, and profit dollars on my screen. So I'm pretty close to the report that I want right here. There are some other things that I can do with the reports that are really pretty cool. If I wanted to go in and let's just say I want to look at the details of that particular invoice that Scott Socket did and Joe Wrench did the repair on, then I have a right-click option for a drill down. Keep in mind, most all of your right-click options are also available on your ribbon across the top, and I have a drill down option here. Exact same thing. One of them is from a menu across, ribbon menu across the top. The other is from a right-click option. If I want to look at those details, there is that specific invoice. The date, invoice number, service packages, descriptions, pricing, quantities, totals, discounts. You guys can see the information, and there's a little bit more stuff buried off to the right side. So I can actually look at the details of that specific invoice when I'm done, close it up. That is available on any lines on here. Let's say I want to organize this a little bit better yet. I have the ability to do group by. So if I go in and select group by, again, I can sort these however I want. So if I want to group this by service advisor, I can do that option from the group by menu. Okay, or let me show you another way you can do it. I can just grab that column as it says, drag the column header here, so just drag it up. Now I'm grouped by each service advisor. So Doug's invoices are all together. He did 12 of them, and there are his individual totals. Scott did 8 invoices. Here are his individual totals. Okay, excuse me, Sammy, and then Scott down here on the bottom. So now I can look at this by service advisor, and if I want the details for any one of these, if I want to look at Sam's 8 invoices, click on the plus sign. There are the individual invoices. And don't forget, you have the drill down capabilities from here too. When you're done, if you want to go back to summarizing, then just bring it back up. You can even multi-tier these. Without getting too far into this, you can drag up the technician. So now when I look at Sam, it's then going to group by the technician that did the job, and then you can open up and look underneath there for those specific invoices. So keep in mind, there are several options on grouping. You can either go back up here and clear your group, or you can use your drag option and bring it right on down. So I have created the exact report that I want. In hindsight, I'm going to drag this back down and I'm going to say, you know what? I don't even need the technician. Under column chooser, I've said I don't want the technician, take it out. So now all I've got is service advisor information. Drag it up and I'm grouped. This is the exact report that I was looking for. Once I've customized this report to my liking, I'm going to go up to layout. And this is very important because if I don't do this, then I'm going to have to do all this again every time I want to see this. So once I get the report the way I want it, I'm going to go to layout. I'm going to select save this layout. When I save the layout, it's going to ask me, do you want to change the name? And I am. I'm going to say this report is going to be called Sales and Profit by Service Advisor. The really important thing you need to know here is not my spelling, but more so, you can also change the description. But the critical point here is make sure you save the parameters. The parameters are everything you changed, and if you don't check that box, it's not going to save your design. Click on OK. The software is automatically going to take that report that I customized, and if you'll notice, it's moved it under My Reports, and here's the exact report I just did. Let's do this. Let's close that up. Let's say a couple days go by. I want to go back. Now that report I created is under Sales, under Invoice Summary, Sales and Gross Profit by Service Advisor. Double click, execute the report. Here I am. Keep in mind, when you save the parameters, like I said, you folks would probably be more interested in looking at this information daily, weekly, monthly, year-to-date, so it'll save those parameters that you used. If I decide at this point I want to put my technician back in, then I'm going to go up to the column chooser. I'm going to select technician, so the technician comes back in. Now I've changed the report, and I say I want to save it with the technician in. I'm going to go back to layout, and now I'll just select save layout as, meaning just change it to the new format. Okay, I'm going to keep the same name, and now that is the report and the way it's going to go. So that report is now going to always be under My Reports, always accessible, and formatted exactly the way that I want it. Let's go back and just do a quick review. I want to create a sales and gross profit report by Service Advisor. Select the best fit report. In this case, we used the invoice summary. Select the desired date range. Select the desired column, calculated columns. Remove any individual columns, and that's optional if you wanted to do that. Rearrange, sort, summary, filter, drill down is available, group by is available, save the layout, review the report from My Reports. You've now customized the report exactly the way that you want it. Let's take a minute for another poll question, if we can, Jeff. Okay, can you convert a report into a chart or a graph display using the Reports Manager? And this is great. Okay. Okay, thank you all for participating. We've got 84% of the people that say yes and 15% of the people that say no. I think you guys can see. The answer is definitely yes, and we're going to show you how to do that. So my next goal is to create a report chart. The report chart I want is a report that shows me sales and gross profit dollars and gross profit margin by Service Advisor. Let's go back to the software. I'm going to go back to all reports. Now my best report for that is going to be a vital signs report, and I can go in and select vital signs by service advisor. If I simply double click on that report, you see I've got my old report in the background. It says, do you want to open a new form for that or use the old? I'll just overwrite the old one. I'm going to use the new one. Again, identify your date range. I, again, am going to go back to last year simply for the amount of data. Execute. You have the ability to play with the column choosers if you want. In this case, I'm not worried about that because I'm going to look at a chart. That's really what I'm looking at, is a chart or a graph. This report comes with a graph built in, which shows the total distribution. And you can see the color coding, the legend on the right, which identifies the distribution. I want to create a new report, a new graph. So what I'm going to do is click on chart, and then I have several different chart types I can choose from. Let's do a couple of them. I'm going to do a column chart. I'm simply going to select the simple stuff here, and here's my chart details. Under the General tab, we're going to enter a name. Our name is going to be Sales and GP Dollars. Okay. On the header, very simple again. You can use a different name, but I'm going to put that same name down there. It's asking me, do you want to label the columns? And yes, I do. I want to label them by service advisor because, again, I'm looking at each individual service advisor. Okay. The information I want to put on the chart, okay, is going to be my sales and gross profit dollars. So I'm going to get my total sales, and I'm going to bring that over into the selected columns. I also want to see my gross profit dollars. I'm going to bring that one over. So these are going to be my charts. Under the display, I have the ability to identify where do I want to put my legend. This is your legend, and this is a column chart, so I can put it on top or bottom. And under the advanced, I do have the ability to set some advanced settings in here. The only one that I would want to look at right now is going to be to make sure, since I'm looking at dollars, I want to show my values in currency. When I click OK, here's my chart. You'll see the legend at the bottom, green representing the total, blue representing gross profit. These are all dollars. So Doug, Sammy, and Scott, the green columns identify the total sales. The blue columns identify the gross profit dollars. And as you can see, if you hover over, it'll pop up the little value. I want to do another chart because now I want to look at gross profit margin. I can't do dollars and margin on the same graph. I have to represent, am I looking at dollars or percentages? I'm going to create a different chart using the bar graph, and I'm pretty simple. I'm just going to take the first one in. And what I want here is going to be gross profit percentage or margin by service advisor. Again, I'm just going to take the same naming convention, put it down below. I want to label the columns, again, by service advisor. And what I want is my overall business gross profit margin. And you know what else I'd like to see? I want to monitor my parts gross profit margin. I could even put labor mix over there, labor GP, any percentages that I want. These are the two that I'm focused on. I'm going to go to display. Our legend is going to be to the left because I'm doing a sideways chart. So I'm going to put it on my left side. And under the advanced, of course, I can do this however I want. Now, I'm not looking at currency anymore. I'm not looking at dollars. I'm going to look at percentages. So I'm going to leave that at a number 1. When I click on OK, I've now got a new chart. You'll see the legend, green being overall gross profit, parts, labor, and sublet, blue identifying the parts. I'll probably have to have a little talk with Sammy Service Advisor here because he's in the red, okay, or negative gross profit. If I don't want to see the negative side of it, under my settings, advanced, okay, I can go in here and set a minimum of 1, or excuse me, 0. I want to start at 0, not negative. So I'm going to say set the minimum at 0 so I don't see negatives. And now you see the negatives, and all I'm looking at is the gross profit margin, okay, all the way up. And I'm looking at my highest is what, around 62.34%. So we have 3 charts. The one that came with it, total distribution, the sales dollars, the gross profit dollars. I like that chart. I'm going to go back to reports. I'm going to save the layout. Okay, and in here, we're going to call this sales and GP by, again, name it whatever you want. Make sure you save your parameters. Click on OK, and you'll see it automatically put it in under my reports. Let's dramatize the fact that a week or 2 has passed by and it's time to look at that report. I'm going to go back to my reports. You guys can open it up so you can see. I'm going to go under my reports. Under sales, under invoice summary, here's the report that we made a while ago. You want to look at it, simply execute. There's the report that I put together for my service advisor in the report avenue. But if I want to look at the graphed reports, then I'm going to go to Vital Signs by Service Advisor. Okay, Vital Signs, there's the one with the big A in it. If I double click on that, it's asking me, do I want to replace this report with the report I've got open? If I want both reports, I'll say no. Okay, so either way, excuse me, it should have been yes, my apologies. But anyway, when I execute that report, then I just go to my charts. And remember, they're constantly updating depending upon the time frame. Now, last year's never going to change. I had a pretty bad year last year, as you guys can see, but anyway, there we are. So there are your reports. You have the ability to go in and customize your reports. Okay. And I'll just bring both of them up. So now I've got both my reports. Get the menu out of the way. Execute. So this is the first report that we customized. And then here's the report where we put the graphs in. So it's not that hard, guys. If I can do it, surely you can do it. But trust me, I've had my share of efforts in this too. We all have to learn how it works. So always go read the help system before you get involved in some of this. I want to take the last 5 minutes here before I end up talking too much and just go back to this and just quickly review. Select your best fit report, always the scenario. Our report that best fit this desired chart is going to be the Service Vital Signs by Service Advisor. Select the date range, play with the column choosers if you want. It comes with a total distribution, and look at some of the reports because some of them do already have charts in them. Select the type of chart, edit the settings, so your total sales, gross profit, okay. Save your layout and review from all reports, and you're good to go.